With us now is Bob Schieffer, Chief of Washington correspondent and host of Face the Nation. Bob, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Charlie.
Is there in Washington today a sense that we now realize that we're going to get this done? It's just a question of how and when?
Well, that's my conclusion. I think by the end of the day, they will have worked this out. I don't know what the details of this thing are going to be, but what I know is Republicans have now come to the conclusion that they've had enough. They're being pounded to death. This latest poll by the Wall Street Journal and NBC News shows that Americans overwhelmingly blame the Republicans for this happening. Here are the kind of signs that I see as meaningful. Earlier this week, you had the lobbyists for Koch Industries, the Koch brothers, who fund so many of the very, very conservative causes, announcing that the Koch brothers had never favored tying defunding Obamacare to shutting down the government. Night before last, Ken Cuccinelli, the Republican candidate for governor out in Virginia, was at a function, and Ted Cruz, who's one of the leaders of this shut down the government movement, he showed up at the same function. Cuccinelli went to quite extremes to make sure he didn't get his picture taken with Ted Cruz. This guy has become toxic to other Republicans. So I think if they can find some way, and I think they will find a way, to give Speaker John Boehner a little way to save face, give him a little something, I think the rest of it will fall into place, and this will be done. You know, Charlie, the pendulum in Washington never stops in the middle.
Yes.
It goes to the right or it goes to the left.
Exactly.
And once it gets too far to the right, then it starts to push back. And I think Republicans realize they've taken this a little beyond where it ought to be, and they are the ones that are getting hammered for it.
It's not just the Republicans, though, Bob. Isn't the president's approval rating is also taking a beating, too, isn't it?
Well, it is. I mean, and nobody's looking good in this thing. In fact, in that poll we were just talking about, 6 out of 10 Americans said they would like to see every single member of Congress defeated.
Yes.
And so this, the quicker that both sides can get this thing wound up now, the better off I think they feel that they will be. And that's how these things are generally
So the
decided.
search is to find something that will give the Speaker save his face with the members that have been recalcitrant. Does it have to be about Obamacare, or can it be about something else?
No, I'm not sure what it's about, Charlie. And I think they'll figure this out. It may be something just like he will agree to discuss certain things. He will agree to discuss entitlement reform or something of that nature. They'll find something, and that I think that's the last thing, the last ingredient that has to be found here. But I think they're pretty close to getting it.
But in 6 weeks, will we be back talking about the same thing in 6 weeks?
There is one proposal that Senate Republicans are putting out, and they're talking about, not much has been said about it, that would put the debt ceiling thing in effect for a year. But we'll have to see where that goes.
Yesterday,
but, so far, they're close to getting this done, I think.
Yesterday on Capitol Hill, Jack Lew called it a manufactured political crisis. Do you think it's a manufactured political crisis?
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, just like sequestration, these are problems that have been created by the Congress and by the government here. These were things that were not going to happen naturally and shouldn't have, but it is. I mean, and both sides are to blame for this, Gail.
All right.
So what's on Face the Nation on Sunday?
Well, we're going to have Chuck Schumer, who's been a key Democrat in all this over in the House. We're going to have Senator Kelly Ayotte, a Republican from New Hampshire. We'll have some other players in this because this story is still unfolding, obviously. But for sure, this is what we'll be talking about.
We'll be watching. Thank you, Bob.